Welcome, Power Learners! Happy New Year! Today's experiment is part 2 of the one we did last week. Last week we did an M&M experiment, and we're also going to do one this week. They're obviously different, but similar. So all you need for today's experiment is a bowl much deeper than the one you used last week. It should be not very deep, but have a good amount of space, a good amount of depth, and like 4 M&Ms and just normal room temperature water. So now, let's begin. The first thing you need to do is take your M&Ms and place them in a sort of circular pattern inside your bowl. And then pour in some room temperature water so that the M&Ms are covered and more. So if you have like a short bowl like we do, just fill it up completely. And you don't necessarily have to straighten out your M&Ms back into the circle if they move around, but if you want to, you can, so that you can see better results. And then after you do that, you just have to wait and observe what the M&Ms are doing. After a while, you should see that the M's on the top of the M&Ms float off. So that's what we'll be seeing in a little. Now our clip is back to normal speed because we can see that the top of the orange M&M is starting to peel off. So we're going to have to wait a few more seconds. And now the top of that is floating to the surface. So as you'll now see, the M of the M&M and a little layer on top has floated to the top of the water, as you can see. And while the camera cleared up, the top of the coating of the yellow M&M has now floated to the surface. So we'll see that now too. And now there's a clear view of the M. So now we're going to wait a little more for the brown M&M. And now the top of the brown M&M is floating to the top of the water. Floating, you can see the complete M. When we picked it up, unfortunately, this one broke apart. So the blue M&M was quite stubborn. It took almost 20 minutes for it to come up to the top. So we stopped the video, and finally it did come up, but the M broke apart before we could see it. So this is what the blue M&M looked like after 20 minutes, and you can see that the M isn't visible. So now we're going to talk about how this experiment works. So as we talked about in the last video, which if you haven't watched yet, you should, the coating of the M&M is made out of colored sugar. So this sugar is easily dissolvable in water. So once you put water in it, the sugar just dissolves right off. The difference with the M's, though, is that the M's aren't made of just sugar. So because of this, they take longer to dissolve in the water, and they obviously, because they're less dense than water, once the sugar comes off, there's nothing to stick to the chocolate of the M&M, and it just floats right up to the top of the water. So that's how this experiment works. So that concludes today's experiment. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel PowerLearn and see you next time.